let's get started. We were talking about confidence last time. Does anyone have any questions regarding last session? Did anyone do something crazy, scary that, they wanted to try and they didn't? Anyone's done diving in a pool? Have you seen like there's always like a little dive like right there? It's like, barely a meter. And then there is another one that's just so high up, right? And you go up and it's scary to jump from it. You seen those? Has anybody tried that? Yeah.
Not super high, like the highest one, just like the middle one.
It's just the
It's
middle
like
one.
different levels, right? For the
Yeah.
diving, right? That you say. Like the Olympic games and
Yeah,
diving.
yeah, that one.
Wow, that high I will dive.
So we did there's one time we went to an island right here in Deep Cove, and we saw a bunch of young people jump off the cliff into the ocean. And I swear to God, it was so high. I don't know how high it was. It was probably a 10-story building. It was so high. And we go, and my dad just jumps off the cliff without even thinking. And I'm like, okay, now I can't. He already jumped. I have to jump. So I jump as well. But everybody else who hesitated and kind of thought about it logically wasn't able to jump. So, sometimes it's about short wiring, that worrying mindset, that worrying process, because we overthink something, we think about it too much. That could puts us in a panic mode, like what if mode, like what if this goes wrong, what if something breaks, what if this happens, what if the other. This is part of the reason, if any of you guys make mistakes, I'm not I like, you guys know me, I never come down on people for making mistakes, because I make mistakes all the time. And that's part of the learning process. It's you got to make mistakes, you got to break things. And I mean, obviously, if your mistake is avoidable and it's due to negligence, then that's not good. But if it's due to trying something new, it's amazing. If it's due to trying to get things done fast, it's great. If you had a chance to do something that takes 3 months in a month, but there was a chance that you could make a mistake if you do it so fast in a growth setting, that would be appreciated. You know what I mean? It's more appreciated to get things done when you're in a growth phase than not to make mistakes. So a bit of a mindset there. Anything else on that, Niggy?
On what? On like
On opening the store and experience?
or for my
Aside from,
part was like mostly deadlines,
yeah,
and I was very stressed. Yeah, it was a stressful
that was a
day.
joke.
Yeah, but we did it. It looks beautiful. It looks great. And the next step will be setting up the store like nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, so for me, mostly like the communication and how to communicate effectively, not in the aggressive way, but effective. That was the challenge mostly.
Yeah, we can run a webinar on communication.
Yeah.
But I gotta tell you, you guys did this 99.99% without me. And that's amazing. You got this is our best design store yet. And all I had to do was get out of the way, for you guys to do it. So thank you for that. Good job. Great work to you and Norika, Negin.
Thank you.
It's a great and big achievement. It's not easy to do this. And yeah, hopefully all of us get to do projects like this if you want, in different places, different stages, different parts of the business if you are interested. And yeah, it's exciting. It's stressful but exciting. Okay, I don't remember how far in we went with this. Did we talk about body language at all on
Yes.
confidence? We did, right? So there is the body language part, there's the physical presence part. You do this hunch, like a close body language. I think we talked about body language a little bit when it came to customer service or sales, but then there is body language around confidence too, right? So if you have an open body language, certain ways you hold your hand, those kind of tell you, put you in a, it's funny with body language, not funny, but it's interesting with body language that it works both ways. You know, if you are in a state of confidence, if you're in a confident state, then your body language may reflect that. But it also works the other way around. If you take on a confident posture, then that leads to confidence too. So that's the way it works with body language. You close your hands, you become less open to ideas, you become more judgmental, you reject ideas more, versus when you open your body language. So if you're negotiating ever with your staff and you see them closed off, right? Grab something and give it to them. So they have to open up this body language. So they're not closed off like that, because this body language means I am closed to whatever you're saying. And even if that's not the case, subconsciously, it creates that rejection of a new idea. I invite you to search some confident body language postures, the standing, sitting down. It's a good practice to have it. Needless to say, eye contact, that's one thing with confidence. You can, people who are very confident, when they look at you, you think that they're looking inside your soul, like it just, the way they look. So that's another thing you can practice with eye contact and projecting authority. Okay, so I mentioned this quickly. Sometimes confidence is through action, right? In a case of jumping off a cliff, right? If you don't use your frontal lobe and you just jump, right? So if you don't for a second stop thinking like a human and think like an animal without thinking logically, jump off a cliff, right? I mean, I'm not recommending you should jump off a cliff. But if you did, you short circuit that process of overthinking and logically thinking about that jump, and that makes it easier to jump. You don't think about it. When you're confident about going to the gym all the time, you don't think about it. You just get up and action. You don't say, what if this happens? What if I go to the gym and do the weights wrong? What if I get injured? Oh, I had an awkward conversation with that person. What if I see him again? You don't think about those. You don't overthink a situation. You just jump into it and you start doing it. And that's confident with action, right? So there's that 5-second rule. I think there was a whole book on it, which was, I mean, too much for a book. It should have just been a blog. But when it's called the 5-second rule, Mel Robbins, where you do whatever you need to do. Don't think about it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just go for it. Do it. Practice that maybe in your next time you want to approach something that's hard to do. Okay. Is anybody afraid of public speaking? You just want to do public speaking? Yeah. Would you like to change that or no?
I've never been a fan of actually attention. Like I'm
Okay.
prefer speaking, but so many people looking at me is just I don't like it. I don't like having so much attention.
Okay,
Public.
next Christmas party, you're gonna do the
Oh,
talk.
no.
Kidding.
No, but related to what you just mentioned, I was just thinking
Uh-huh.
like when we're children, I was always very curious, very climbing up the trees, because I didn't have a sense of danger, of sense of fear. So I
Mm.
would do everything. But now that I'm older, I know that if I get up on a tree, I'm gonna fall and break my hip, so I don't do it. That's because that's the consequence of it. But right when I was a kid, I didn't overthink a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're so right. You look at kids and they walk up to anyone and they talk to them, right? It's so it's so easy for them. I mean, so it's natural. It's a natural thing. You see something that grabs your attention, you just go talk about it. Whereas for us, for a lot of when we get older, there's so many restrictions in just saying what you want to say. And as a kid, you say whatever's on your mind, right? Or you do whatever you want to do. And then we build these layers over layers over layers over layers of thoughts that prevents us from taking action. Okay, I want to talk about mindset again a little bit. Does anybody know the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset? Okay, so a lot of people have a fixed mindset, meaning this is the way I am, or this is the way the world is. I can't do anything about it, right? It's just the way it is. That's called a fixed mindset. But a growth mindset means if the world is this way and I am at this level, I can get to this level. I can do more. I can become more. I can be more efficient. I can be faster. I can be more fit. I can do this. I can dance. I can do that. So a fixed mindset, for example, say you love dancing. If you had a fixed mindset, you say, it's too late. I didn't start when I was young. I don't have the talent for it. It's just not for me. Uh, I have too many things I have to do. I can't learn at this age. That's a fixed mindset. But with a growth mindset, you would be like, I want to do it. I'll go after it and I'll do it. I mean, obviously, there's limits to that, but people with a growth mindset are people who have the ability and the willingness to improve. And there's levels to it. There are people who can achieve a lot of things with the mindset that they have because they're so adaptable and there's not things inside their head telling them reasons why they can't achieve certain things. Yeah. Now, my idea of this is there are two different types of people in the world. More than two, but two that are relevant. There are people who are good, right? And there are people who are great, right? People who are good and people who are great. They become great. They achieve greatness. They take things to the next level. Narika, what do you think is the difference between someone who's good and someone who's great?
I don't know if it's right, but for me, it's always like having willingness of kind of like go to the next level or like having this eagerness of like trying to constantly, I think, getting better.
This is the drive.
Yeah, I think for me, it's kind of like not always a positive way. It's always about keep telling myself that I'm not good enough, so I have to get better. So eventually, I kind of like surface all the competition. So like I'm competing myself to be great, like for my definition. But then like it's not always like sort of the same level where you are competing with everyone else to make me like great.
Okay. That's a good point. Let's hold on to that. Negin, what do you think is the difference between someone who's good and someone who's great?
Someone is good and someone. I think the level of understanding of someone who's great, it really depends. The level of the understanding of a person who's great is like much wider. It can absorb more information, can transform more information, or like and is open-minded, is open to suggestion, open to change. And someone is good is they usually like stay as they are, less of the growth mindset and more of like maybe humbleness, maybe, or not. But if somebody is great, is probably have a lot of great people around them too, right? I don't know. But it's like probably yeah.
Okay,
It's,
Carla, what do you think?
it depends, yes.
Oh, sorry.
No, I really think
You
it
mentioned 3 points.
depends on the perspective. Depends on the what we call it great and what we call it good.
Okay, what's the difference between someone who is good at their field and someone who's great? Carla, what do you think?
I would say that someone that is good is someone that accomplishes whatever they are asked for or the goal they put to themselves. It's like, okay, I did this and I did it good. But just like to that level, okay, I did this 100% and that's it. But someone that is great is someone that is looking for more in the same, okay, this is the achievement, but maybe we can do it in a different way or to add this or that. Even if it was good, you are always looking or looking like beyond that, just to get, not because you want to be considered great, but because you are thinking about like what else can be done in this matter.
Yes, I like that. Anybody else? Ikra? What do you think?
I think I agree with Carla is something that when it's good is like you're asked to do something and you just did it and you know you're good at it. So it's like a self thing. But when it comes to being great is like, you consider a lot of other situations as well, and then you try to accomplish even more than what your goal was.
All right, those are great points. And they are all those were great points and they're true. But the most important thing, in my opinion, is the following. And I don't think it was mentioned here. Maybe you intended it, but it wasn't clearly mentioned. I had a meeting yesterday with a friend who was the head of commercial banking at RBC, and that's really high up. And that was for 4 or 5 banks, really high up. The guy was in charge of hundreds of $1 millions of financing that went to businesses. So it's not easy to get there. He worked at RBC, went up through the steps, and became the head of commercial banking at RBC. So I had a meeting with him. He became a friend because he was the boss of the banker that he was the boss of the banker I was working with. So we just became friends in an event, and he now left RBC as a CFO at a very big real estate company, and extremely successful guy. And I look at him and I realize that he's not the most knowledgeable guy. Like, he wasn't a CPA, he wasn't an MBA, he wasn't the 20 degrees out there that even my banker, the one I had previous to our commercial banker, he was a CPA, he was an MBA, had all these credentials, and he was so knowledgeable with finance and like this and that. And this guy was the boss of this guy. So clearly, knowledge wasn't the case. It's not how much they knew. There was something else with this guy. And it was interesting because, I knew I had this webinar, and this is a good story for this webinar. The guy had the most can-do attitude out of anyone I've seen, right? So you go to him for financing, and most bankers tell you, no, there's no way. You can't get this financing. It's just not going to work. He would take that problem and say, okay, I see the problem. This is not a typical thing. Let me see. I will figure out a way to make this happen. And it will come back the next day. You do A, B, C, D. And then this is how we're going to structure it. This is how we're going to do this. This is the step we're going to get. And this is how we're going to get the financing. So to me, the difference between him and the other guys with more knowledge, right, was his mindset. Right? His can-do attitude, his way of thinking, instead of, okay, this is not something that I can solve. Instead, he would always ask, he also still asks, okay, how do we get this done? Elon Musk is saying, you guys know Elon Musk is one of my favorite entrepreneurs. He's sending rockets to Mars at a fraction of a cost of other. Forget about his politics. I'm not talking about that. As a businessman, the rockets are going to outer space from $2 billion of NASA to $200 million per shoot. Like, that's crazy. So he's an extreme level mindset of how do we get this done? Versus on the other side, you would have people that would just say, this is not going to work. This is impossible. Right?
I just, with this that you already mentioned, I heard something about Simon Sinek. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
He was mentioning something that I think it's related. He said like, also great people, they recognize that they are good at something, but if they don't know something else, they are capable of listening to others and to apply all that knowledge. I mean, even if it's the CEO of a company, he has the willingness to listen to somebody else, even if it has like a lower position, knowing that and understanding that they have also like a different kind of skills or whatever, and they are open to apply all that knowledge to their things they are doing. So I think that also talks about self-confidence, because if you are confident of yourself, whatever you know and whatever you are doing, but you can also know and understand that somebody else can know more than you, and that doesn't make you less or more than they are.
Absolutely. You're right with that. That's the learning processes, and that's a journey. A lot of good leaders are very good at delegating things they're not good at. They're not, and you're not like, as a leader, you're not supposed to be the best at everything. You're not supposed to know that every single thing about every single element of every single aspect of the business. You're not supposed to. Exactly. And then you find the people who are very good at something, and you give them the ability to evolve and get better at it than you. And then that's how you grow. That's how you level up as a leader. For example, with design of this new store, I'm not good at design. I realized that after the first store. So you look at Main Street right now, no offense, Main Street, but then you look at Park Royal that Negin did versus Main Street that I did. Like, you compare those designs. Okay, I'm not good at it. I don't have to be involved in all those design questions. There are people who do it better, or when it comes to operations with the store and developing people. Norika's, done so much there. She is becoming really good at, like, she has become really good at that, better than I could have been. And you're right. Yeah, that's a lot of that is, there's truth to that. So it's not the knowledge. It's not the knowledge. So any of you ever tell me, hey, I don't know how to do this, that's why I can't do it. You know what I'm going to tell you? You're not supposed to know everything. It's not the knowledge you can find out. You can ask, you can research, you can figure out, trial and error. How do entrepreneurs build businesses? They've never done it before. Well, some have, but most haven't. They keep trying. Trial and error. They keep asking. They keep educating themselves. Just being afraid of not knowing is just not good for your confidence. So instead of thinking why this won't work, you think, how can I make this work? Right? Instead of why this won't work, you say, how can I make it work? Instead of what if I fail, you ask, what will I learn in this process? I opened a bakery a long time before, a couple of years ago, before I had this bakery. Cost a lot of money, almost $500,000, and that failed. I learned from it. That didn't stop me from, opening a new store, doing this, doing another store. It's the cost of growth. Instead of asking or saying, do I have what it takes? You say, how can I develop the skills I need? Right? Do I have what it takes to become a good dancer? Huh? Instead of that, you can ask, do I have what it takes? Or how can I develop the skills to become a good dancer? Yeah. So a little bit of that comes with taking ownership, right? We talked about taking ownership and just getting rid of that excuse mindset. Because say something is looking absolutely impossible to you. Like, this task is impossible. Like, there's no way I can do it. Right? High achievers, right? They don't think that way. That's just, even if it's physically impossible, they put that thought out of their head and then try to solve the problem. They might fail, right? But you don't gain anything but by figuring out the reasons why something is going to fail. Ali, what do you think of that? Taking ownership.
Think you have to jump in.
You
That's
have
one
to
of the.
You're very good at jumping.
Yeah, I remember all time. You always ask me like, "We're gonna do that." I said, "It's easy. Let's do it." Yeah, I remember you get angry. I said, "No, we need to prefer like search for it." But I'm always jumping into it.
Okay. Yes, it's good to jump into things. Right?
Yeah, always, always. It's it's better to jump it and fail it, but growing up and says, "Oh, I couldn't done that," it's gonna like burn more. I don't want that, I never like that mindset. I want to do it. I'm gonna fail it now. I'm gonna deal with it. But if I'm not gonna do it, and like in future think about it and find out I should have done it, but I didn't.
Yes.
I don't like that one.
Yeah. So there's a different mindset here. There's some people would say, I don't have the resources, I don't have the opportunity. and they don't take action. But there are others that say, okay, how do I find the resources? How do I find the opportunity? How do I create my own opportunity, regardless of external conditions? Because you can't change the external conditions, but you could change internally the way you think and deal with the hands you're given. Does anybody know what self-fulfilling prophecy is? So self-fulfilling prophecy is when you believe in something, or you say something, or you believe in something, and because of the fact that you believe in it, it becomes true. You know what I mean? So Henry Ford said, whether you think you can do it or you think you can't, you're right. So self-fulfilling prophecy, you think that you can't do this task. You think that you can become this person. That's true. It's also true if you think that you could do something and you can become something, or you can get to the next level or a level after that. That's also true. If you want, obviously. Okay. I think, Negin, I think you mentioned association with other people. So there is also with mindset, it's very contagious. So if you associate yourself with people who are of a certain mindset, you become that type of a person, right? If you're friends with people who have the can-do attitude, who don't have a lot of excuses, who do try things and fail at things and try again and try again, you associate yourself with people like that, you become that as well.
I think I had that conversation with a couple of the store people. I think it was Hamza and Daiho that we are talking about. Look at the 5 people who you are spending the most amount of time with, and those are the people who is reflecting you. So like if those are the people who wants to stay in their comfort zone, doesn't want to try something new, then that's basically you. You can't really say that you are very different from your crowd or like, group of friends, like, because you are getting lots of influence from those people. So if you are applying this theory to the store setting, your team is gonna be the people who you are spending like, at least 40 hours a week, every week, right? So like you don't want any negative people who is like, doesn't want to do what they are doing. And that's the first like sort of the mindset and the mentality when you are doing the hiring and like choosing people who you want to spend your time with.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Surround yourself with people who are positive, with a good mindset. Confidence gets you in the game, and mindset is what keeps you going and improving further, right? It determines how far you can go. And that's your mindset. And you can adjust your mindset to the level of your goals. If your goal is here and your mindset is here and you're happy, then good, right? But your goals are here, your mindset's still here, right? Then that gap, this is more like a dream. You can't get there if you don't raise that mindset. Happy to talk to you about mindset if you want one-on-one. Let me know if you do. We won't have a webinar next week, Persian New Year's, and some stores are going to be super busy. I know Norika and Negan are going to be busy. Bernabe, Edita is going to be busy. If you don't have any questions, that's it for today. Thank you for attending the webinar. Next one will be in sure, almost a month. Well, look out for the emails. We'll text you too when we have the next one. Okay? Good day, everybody.
Thank you.